By April 1945, Germany had already lost the war. Berlin was surrounded. Entire armies were surrendering. The front was collapsing from every direction. And yet, inside an American prison camp, one German SS officer acted like nothing had changed. He still gave orders. He still demanded respect from the enemy, from General George Patton. But in that moment, he was about to learn something no rank could protect him from, because what happened next destroyed that illusion in seconds. April 1945. At this point, Germany was no longer fighting to win the war. It was trying to survive. On the Eastern Front, Soviet forces were already inside Berlin. Street by street, the city was falling. In the West, American forces had crossed the Rhine, the last major natural barrier protecting Germany. After that, there was nothing left to stop them. General George Patton's Third Army was moving fast, very fast. His units pushed deep into central Germany, breaking defensive lines, one after another. Entire German formations were collapsing. Some surrendered without a fight. Others simply disappeared. Command structures were falling apart. Orders stopped making sense. And for thousands of German soldiers, the war was already over. Not officially, but in their minds. Near the city of Weimar, thousands of German soldiers had already surrendered to American forces. They were gathered in large open camps. No proper shelters, no formations, just long lines of exhausted men standing in the mud. The air was cold, the ground was wet, and everywhere you looked, there were soldiers who no longer believed in anything. Some were wounded. Some had not eaten properly for days. Most of them didn't speak. They just waited for food, for orders, for the war to finally end. For many of them, this was no longer a battlefield. It was the aftermath, the end. But even here, not everyone accepted that reality. But among those thousands of surrendered soldiers, there was one man who did not look defeated, an SS officer. While others stood silently, he remained different. His uniform, worn but still carefully arranged. His posture straight. His vzglad cold, controlled. Witnesses later said he behaved as if the war had not ended for him. He did not lower his head. He did not avoid eye contact. And most importantly, he did not accept being treated like a prisoner. He corrected the guards when they addressed him incorrectly. He spoke sharply, confidently, like a man who still believed he had authority. That rank still meant something, even here, even now. But that raises a question. What happens to rank when the army that gave it to you no longer exists? When your command is gone, your country is collapsing, and the enemy controls everything around you. Does authority still exist if no one is left to follow it? Or is it just an illusion that hasn't been broken yet? Because in that camp, this officer was still holding on to something that no longer existed, and very soon, he was about to be forced to face reality. When General George Patton arrived at the camp, everything changed. The atmosphere became heavier, quieter, more focused. Because Patton was not just another officer, he was one of the most aggressive commanders in the entire Allied army. By April 1945, he had already seen the German army collapse with his own eyes. He had watched entire units surrender. He had seen soldiers abandon their positions. And he understood one thing very clearly. Germany was finished. There was no more strategy, no more control, no more power, only the illusion of it. As he walked through the camp, He observed the prisoners carefully. Most of them avoided eye contact. Most of them stood silently, defeated. But one man did not. The SS officer. He stood differently, looked directly at Patton, unmoved, unshaken, as if he was still in command. And in that moment, the distance between reality and illusion became very clear. Because these two men were about to face each other. One represented a defeated army that refused to accept the end. The other was the man who had helped destroy it. What do you think Patton saw in that moment? A prisoner or a man still living in the past? The SS officer stepped forward, not slowly, not carefully, confidently, like a man who still believed he had the right to speak. He looked directly at Patton, and then he spoke. Not as a prisoner, but as an officer. He demanded to be treated according to his rank. For a moment, everything around them went silent. American soldiers stopped moving. They watched closely, because they understood exactly what was happening. This was not just a conversation. It was a collision between reality and denial. Patton didn't respond immediately. He looked at the officer, calm, cold. Then he stepped closer, very close, and asked, "You're still talking about rank?" A pause, heavy, uncomfortable. Then he continued, "Your army is destroyed. Your command is gone. You don't give orders anymore." The officer didn't move, didn't speak, didn't react. And then Patton finished. "You're not an officer here. You're a prisoner." Silence, no shouting, no emoji, just truth, delivered without hesitation. And in that moment, everything the officer believed in collapsed. The officer said nothing, because there was nothing left to say. For years, rank had meant power, authority, control, but in that moment, none of it mattered anymore, because rank only exists when someone is willing to follow it. And here, there was no one left, no army, no command, no system, only the reality of defeat. What happened in that camp was not just a conversation. It was the moment when illusion finally met reality, and reality won instantly. But this raises a question. Should a soldier always be treated with respect, even after total defeat? Or are there moments in history when respect is no longer deserved? Write your opinion in the comments. If you enjoy real World War II stories, like the video and subscribe. And if your family has stories from that time, share them below. Thank you for watching. My name is Mike, and this was War from Mike's Perspective. See you in the next video.